Many faculty at Rollins incorporate our key values of global citizenship and responsible leadership into their curricula. They do this locally, they do it globally. We've chosen this particular program because we can demonstrate both of them. We can help students achieve leadership goals. Many of our students take leadership positions in their teaching roles, and we can help with internationalization, where we're exposing students to areas of the world they haven't experienced and maybe light the travel bug in them. Earlier this year, we brought a group of students from Rollins Business School to Otavalo, and they spent a week working with the artisan market in Otavalo, putting together a website for 6 to 8 vendors as a pilot for what we hoped would be a larger project. The project was very successful while we were here. We trained people on how to run the website. We talked to the vendors, got them all in, photographed all their goods. But it seems like the organization we had to run the site wasn't really ready. We've made several connections with organizations in Ecuador, both in Otavalo and the Galapagos. These organizations have helped us plan our trips, especially by making connections with the schools we're going to work with, who rarely have connections, either phone or internet, for us to contact them from abroad.
In March or April, I received an email from Les Lloyd. It was an absolutely wonderful email stating that he wanted to bring a group of students to the Galapagos Islands. To come to a high school where we sit today, and it's a fantastic experience because we have a lot of students that are getting an international feeling. It's not just the Galapagos, they are actually looking outside of the box, which will help these students in the long run.
What is your name? How old are you? Where are you from? What is your favorite class?
Yeah, it is of great value to have people come from the international community to work with the Charles Darwin Foundation or work with other organizations here as a volunteer or a consultant or whatever, because it does a couple things. One, it brings that expertise to bear on conservation of Galapagos that may not exist here, but it also offers role models and examples of alternative aspirations that the young people here can have. You know, they see what's possible. And I think without that kind of international exposure, it's very hard for such an isolated community, 600 miles into the Pacific Ocean, in a fairly still developing nation, to see what the bigger picture is and what are the possibilities. So it creates a richer and more dynamic environment for the locals, as well as allows us to do what needs to be done for Galapagos. Important to say first that the Charles Darwin Foundation isn't fixing. We can facilitate through dialogue and through working with our collective partners and bringing our research to bear on creating a vocational training institute. That is what we are participating with various other local institutions to create. The reason we need a vocational training institute here is because there are many school leavers, recent graduates, who simply don't have the skills needed to participate in the new economy of Galapagos. The population didn't exist in the past as it does now. There were no need for urban planners, waste management experts, IT professionals. It has been mostly in tourism, but even in tourism, if the children here don't graduate with good English language skills, hospitality skills, that labor needs to be imported from the mainland, and the majority of that labor currently does come from the mainland. So by working with our partners to identify the needs and then develop solutions with them, we hope to expand the world of opportunity for these kids.
Well, we brought supplies with us so that we could set the school up with the needed tools to be able to continue what we taught them during the week we were there. So we brought 14 desktops and 4 laptops, network gear, and a bunch of games and other supplies that the students could use with while they were teaching, and the school would have once we were gone.
Rollins College has just given about 14 computers and more to the high school where we sit today. And I've noticed an increase in what the students want to do, not just be a guide. There's so much more to being a guide. The students are learning about computers. Even sitting and watching them look at Google Earth, they can look at the world outside and realize where they are. They're even speaking with the director of the school. He too can notice even just a couple of students have changed their mind completely as to what they can and cannot do.
The computers are used computers from Rollins. They've served a life cycle for faculty or staff or computer labs at the college. And we budget our computers on a replacement cycle that allows us at the end of that cycle to resell them. And so essentially we purchase the used computers from the college and we're able to bring them here. Yeah, to do this on an ongoing basis, we have to find a funding source because for a 12-day trip, it's really too much to expect a student to pay almost $300 a day to be able to make a trip like this. For most of the trips, the students pay the full cost of the trip. In this case, because it's so expensive to visit the Galapagos for lots of reasons, including environmental impact fees that we pay, we did do some fundraising, which we do each year, but then we got some grants, mostly from places at Rollins, like the Community Service Center and the International Office, so that we could bring the cost for students down to a manageable amount. In trying to fund this trip, we found that without funding from foundations and other organizations, it would be very hard to sustain. The cost of the trip is expensive, especially with the environmental fees that are paid, fees to get around the different islands. It's a lot more expensive than previous trips we've done in Cuenca, Ecuador, and in San Miguel de Allende, Mexico. So in order for this to be sustainable, we need about $500 to $700 per student to subsidize their fees that compare to other 12-day study abroad trips. We have students write a reflection paper once they get back, and more than what they tell us here in that paper, they reflect a couple of weeks out on what they did. And even when we do it here and we say, gee, 12 days ago, we got to the Galapagos and we went to an island and we taught students and then we snorkeled with sea lions, it still seems kind of surreal. But after a few weeks to reflect on it, they really come back with an understanding. And a lot of them are truly a different outlook on life. They talk about how they want to do more travel. Many of them haven't been out of the country before. One student has even said that she wants to come live in the Galapagos. But others get the international bug, and so they look forward to their next trip. Last year we got a grant from the Associated Colleges of the South to revisit the school we went to last December. We went in June so we could see how the school was doing 6 months after our visit. The teachers and the principal and the students were all there. School had closed for the summer. The entire school came in to talk to us and interview with us and tell us what they had gotten out of the project. So it felt really good to see that they were using everything, that they were getting a lot out of it. In fact, today I got an email from one of the faculty there saying, "How are you? We miss you. When are you coming back?"
The great thing about the experience is Rollins College is the first university to come to this high school and have this intercultural exchange with these students. So it's something that I'm sure the students are going to remember, if not tomorrow or the next day. This is something they're going to remember for the rest of their lives.
The children and the students here are very happy because they learn much English, and sometimes the teacher here teach so beautiful and so happy and no boring classes, and you turn away at the another side of how we can learn more English, and that's interesting for us. And I'm glad for you here, and I think another time you'll be here and we have like another present for you. Thank you.
And the important thing is that this is not just for the high school students here, this is also for Rollins College. I'm sure this has also changed the lives of many students from abroad that come here.
Well, the thing I get out of the trip is watching the students. So when the students have a good day at school, it feels good. When the students bike down a volcano and they're smiling at the end, or they talk about it the next night and say it was the best activity of their life, to me that's why I do the trip. I do it because not only can we share and help people in another country, but our kids get to experience something that they haven't done before, and many of them are stepping outside their comfort zone significantly.